India is sometimes pointed out as the world's most invaded country. Foreigners have invaded India over 200 times. India was initially a very prosperous country, that is, before the invasions, and many foreigners came to India with the purpose of trade. The British were one of them, who landed on the Indian subcontinent at the port of Surat on August 24, 1608 AD, solely for the purpose of trade, but slowly and gradually they set up their imperial rule in India. In this video, we are not going to go into how a British trading corporation became an imperial ruler, but the effects of their rule on India. So let's begin. Look at this picture. Here, we can see that the people of Libya, which is in North Africa, are revolting against Gaddafi, who had seized control of the Libyan government in 1969 and ruled as an authoritarian dictator for more than 40 years. He was, of course, finally overthrown in 2011. Reason: corruption, military interference in Africa, and record of horrific human rights turned much of the Libyan population against him. That is, they are seen here revolting against the then ruler Gaddafi. So, here let us understand the meaning of the word revolt. It basically means to rebel against an authority. We can put it as when the needs of the people are not satisfied and people face economic crisis, they revolt. Now we know that India was also under the British rule for more than 200 years, and the condition of the people during that time was extremely bad, and this led to a revolt in India. Let us understand this through various topics. Before we go into these topics, let us understand what was the reason that led to the revolt against the British. We know that India was a very prosperous country even after the death of Aurangzeb, and it has been admitted by the historians across the world that the industries, production techniques, and the organization of trade in India were unmatched at that time. Initially, the Britishers also came to India only with the purpose of trade. They took permission to trade in Indian states. Slowly, to serve their economic interest, that is, to help the British traders make huge profits, they increased their political hold on India with the use of British tactics and were successful in creating the divide and rule policy in India. And within a span of years, they were able to become the supreme power in India. As a result, the condition of the people was very bad and it resulted in a revolt. So let us understand about the life of the Indians at that time. Coming to the economic conditions of the people during the British rule. Like we saw in the previous slide, India was economically prosperous till the 18th century. The Indian cottage industry flourished. Industries like the weaving industry, carpet weaving, pottery, handicraft items were well known all over the world for their mastery and craftsmanship. Tea and spices were also sold in the Western countries since early times. Indian industries and production techniques and the organization of trade was unmatched at the time. But after the death of Aurangzeb, there was a state of disorder due to the absence of a ruler. This state is known as anarchy. The British, they took advantage of this and set up their empire. Again, this was also the time of industrial revolution, that is, a period of major industrialization and innovation that took place during the late 1700s and early 1800s. It began in Great Britain and quickly spread throughout the world. India became the country that supplied raw material to the factories in England and offered a large market for the finished products of the factories in England. Now we come to the condition of the peasants and agriculture during the British rule. After the death of Mir Jafar in 1765, the then Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II, he granted the Diwani rights of the provinces of Bengal to the company. This was a major breakthrough for the company because Diwani allowed it to use the vast revenue resources of Bengal. The company had become the Diwan, but it was still seeing itself primarily as a trader. It wanted a large revenue income but was unwilling to set up any regular system of assessment and collection. The effort was to increase the revenue as much as it could and buy fine cotton and silk as cheaply as possible. From the early 18th century, the company had bought most of its goods in India by paying in gold and silver, which were imported from Britain. This was putting a huge drain on the treasury of Britain. Now, with the revenue collected in Bengal, the company could finance the purchase of goods for export. Soon, the Bengal economy was facing a deep crisis. Artisans were deserting villages since they were being forced to sell their goods to the company at low prices. The agricultural cultivation showed signs of collapse. Peasants had to sell their jewelry or borrow money from the moneylenders, all leading to a debt trap and farmers losing their land. Again, during the same time, a terrible famine killed 10 million people in Bengal. That is, about one third of the population was wiped out. So, if the economy was in ruins, could the company be certain of its revenue income? Most of the company officials felt that investment in land had to be encouraged and agriculture had to be improved. Now, how was this to be done? The company finally introduced the Permanent Settlement Act in 1793, in which the Rajas and the Talukdars were recognized as zamindars. They were asked to collect rent from the peasants and pay revenue to the company. Now, the amount to be paid was fixed permanently, that is, it was never to be increased in the future. This way, the British felt that they could ensure a regular flow of revenue into the company and also encourage the zamindars to invest in improvement of the lands. Since the revenue would never be increased, the increased production would benefit the zamindars and again there would be a steady flow of income for the company. Coming to the effects on social life. Warren Hastings, the person who was given the job of collecting revenue, he was also known as a collector. He also performed the function of a judge. The British system of administration had destroyed our ancient system of self rule. In ancient times, even every village was like a small republic. That is, Gram Panchayats handled the administration of the entire village. These were the backbones of the self rule in our country. These institutions of local self rule stood their ground even during the times of foreign invasions and the Sultanate period, but they were completely destroyed due to the administrative policies of the British. The policy of social reforms by the company made people feel insecure and suspicious. They felt that the government was trying to convert them to Christianity and destroy the Indian culture and religion forever. People believed that the Indian social system was deliberately undermined in the railways and military. An order was passed in Agra that every Indian had to salute the British. If it was not done, it was considered as a crime and he was liable for punishment. As a result, there was widespread sentiment of anger and hatred for the British among the Indians. Destruction of the Indian trade and industries. We know that India was a very prosperous country and traders from all over the world used to come to India to purchase commodities like jute, silk, woolen and cotton textiles, muslin, salt, different spices, etc. Okay, these were exchanged in exchange of gold and silver. But the whole scenario changed with the British rule. What happened? With the help of the raw materials produced in India and the money collected from India, the business and industries in England prospered. Their mills started progressing. The cloth manufactured in England was imported in India without levying any duty, whereas there were taxes up to 80% on the cloth manufactured in India. As a result, textile made in India became costlier in the Indian market itself. The Indian handicraft and cottage industries could not withstand the competition and they could not sustain themselves. Many silk based industries of our country, like textile industry, glass, paper, shipbuilding, sorry, etc., got ruined due to the policies of the British. Lacks of skilled workers became unemployed. Gradually, the poor workers of the rural areas of India became more and more poor.
Lord William Bentinck served as the Governor General of India between 1858 to 1859. When he came to India, liberal thinking was getting a stronghold already in England, and this way of thinking slowly reached India too. His tenure in India is known for the social reforms such as abolition of sati in 1829 and suppression of infanticide, etc. Together, Gandhi and other social reforms were already trying to put a stop to all this. He further established different grades of courts to avoid delay in the trial of cases. He established a Supreme Court in Agra. The civil and criminal appeals were heard in this court. During his time, Indians started getting jobs in the company administration. English was introduced as the language of instruction in India. The method of British education system was opposed by a number of intellectuals and Mahatma Gandhi called it as to give millions a knowledge of English is to enslave them. That is, by receiving English education, we have enslaved the nation. Later on, of course, three universities were established in 1857. The Britishers could get educated workforce due to this introduction of the English education. Alongside, it also developed nationalistic thinking among the educated Indians. Many machines were invented to facilitate the industries, transport, and communication. Considering the convenience in running administration and strategic importance for the military, the Britishers introduced the railways in India. In order to maintain an effective control on the country and to exchange messages with the neighboring territories, modern methods of post and telegraph were again introduced in India in 1854 CE. Even the printing press and circulation of newspapers grew alongside. These reforms were actually for the convenience of the British rule in India, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise for the growth of nationalism in India. The class that acquired the English education spearheaded the social reforms and nationalism in India since they were more familiar with the contemporary developments